Hey everyone, this is my third attempt at writing this video. It's a tough story to tell and I wanted to make sure I shared it respectfully. I won't name the game, the company, or anything too specific due to NDAs, but hopefully my story can help people by providing some insight on such an experience or help some coping with their own misfortune. You are not alone. So quick recap.
Yep, that's me.
I moved to Finland to kickstart my game dev career. I worked on several games at the university and learned a whole lot. All that was left before graduating was writing my bachelor thesis. That's when a job offer came up. A level designer trainee position for an adventure game that was already in early access on Steam. I had just successfully led a game for a big client and felt confident in my growing skills, so I applied and got the job. I was super excited. It was the first big PC game I would work on, so let's call it the mystery game. Tommy, is that the best you can do? Come on, carry it with your back. Look at Emma here, she's killing it. Hell yeah! But soon after joining, things turned out very differently than expected. The project was struggling, the direction was unclear, the team dynamics were off, and thus my job as a simple level designer trainee became surprisingly challenging. Let's just say I was handed a toolbox full of broken nails and bent hammers. At that point, I had two options. First, leave that sinking ship while I was still not too involved and go back to my thesis. I had nothing to lose, my pay was pretty modest, and working on this project was already a big headache. Second option, go all in, offer to rework the game completely as a game designer while salvaging what we could. And you know what?
He's about to do something stupid.
I went with the second option. It was a huge risk. I was new, still a trainee, but somehow I believed in the project's potential. And surprisingly, that bold move paid off, and that's how I became the project's lead game designer. I couldn't promise that it'd be an amazing game with the little time we had, but it would be a game, finished and released, and that would have to be enough. Thus started a huge shift. I still had serious concern from the red flags I perceived earlier, but I thought maybe I could turn things around. I redesigned the game from a new angle, inspired by one of my all-time favorites. A short hike. It's a small game with a tight scope, yet full of heart. Exactly what this project needed. It was a long grind. I totally forgot about my thesis at that point, but things started improving. We built momentum, the team was getting excited and hopeful again, and I was told by the boss himself I had saved the game. That was the ultimate honor, and I felt like my work was paying off. But eventually, cracks started appearing again. Slowly at first, then faster. Mismanagement, boundary issues, more pressure on my already loaded shoulders, and suddenly, my university reached out. If I didn't finish my thesis ASAP, I would lose my study rights. Years of education and work gone. I had already delayed it several times for work, and now I kinda had no choice. Speedrun my thesis now, or drop out from school, and that was not an option. Already full of stress, this felt like the cherry on the cake of my emotional distress. I let the team know and we agreed that I'd step back to focus on finishing my studies. The plan was still that I would come back every now and then to help with more content design and implementation. I felt a bit guilty stepping away, but also quite relieved. The foundation was there, it was solid, the game was finally on track. I raced through my thesis and luckily got an ultimate time extension, and I was ready to return on the project. I checked in with the team, and that's when I learned things had changed.
Where the f*** is everyone?
Your typical industry shake-up, the kind you hear about way too often. Suddenly, I wasn't getting work anymore. No updates, no check-ins. I was still technically part of the company, but effectively I had been laid off without the label. I couldn't do anything but wait. Months passed. A year. I still hoped they would bring me back to help finish the game. I was even open to do it unpaid just to see it through. But radio silence. This confusing year had been very hard on me. I felt like my efforts led nowhere. I didn't understand how, despite my saving the game, I couldn't even get as much as a message for almost a year. But I knew for a fact it was hard for everyone involved. That helped me dealing with this situation, to know that I was not alone. Later, I finally got some news, and to my surprise, the game would release soon. They had slowly tried to wrap up whatever they could. I got some words of gratefulness, but I could still not come back in to finish things properly. I had been laid off for good. Finally, the game released. Seeing that game out and purchasable made me proud. I played it and finished it in one sitting with some friends, and well, it wasn't too bad. Just like I promised. Not amazing, but released. We did it. But then I saw the credits.
Oh! I'm gonna see you.
Let's go! What? I was also in writing. Hey.
Whoa! Hold on. This is finished.
But I was also like in content, like what?
You did everything. You might as well be... Oh, come on.
What the hell?
Is this a snub?
Yeah, what? Yeah, I was just in the middle of like design, even though I was the freaking lead game designer.
And you saved the game. Oh,
yeah.
You have to point that out now.
Yeah.
Send feedback.
But I mean,
you deserve that.
I didn't want to have to do that. Like, come on, like you guys know. Like, yeah. It's a little
Yeah, shame that it
sting,
leaves
but
it on a sour note, because otherwise
Yeah,
it's really nice, and it's you've done a really fantastic job, Ned. So
Yeah, exactly. You're very proud. That was really cool.
thank you. I wish you all to have as supportive friends as this too. There I was mentioned, but not as the lead game designer. No trace of my level design direction work, on UX UI, on writing, of the months I had spent reworking the entire game. I think that's what hurt me the most in this whole experience, seeing that despite my best efforts to try and fix this project, I had been erased, like none of it mattered. I had been laid off, ghosted, and couldn't even be credited correctly. That was really disheartening. Luckily, I had asked earlier in the year to have my contributions officially acknowledged in writing. I wished I didn't have to, but I still reached out, then the credits were updated to reflect my actual roles. That brought me some closure, and thus ended this difficult chapter. Looking back on it today, yeah, it sucked, but somehow I still embraced that experience, as bittersweet as it may have been. I learned so much, it allowed me to push myself beyond what I thought I could do. I built something with all my heart and got to work with talented people. And I've got no hard feelings. I know it's been a rough experience for everyone involved, so I wish them the best now. I got out of it stronger and more excited than ever to see my own games come to life. After all my experiences from this past few years as a game dev, here are the 5 biggest lessons I wish I had learned earlier. Number 1. Choose your battles. Not everything is worth burning out over. Sometimes, the best move is to move on. Number 2, don't get too attached. Good games come from a place of passion, but it's still work. And if you're part of this corporate world, companies may not treat your passion with the same care you do. Number 3, management is key. Handling time, task, people. Leadership makes or breaks a project. Even when working solo, be your own manager and plan your work and time off. Go for efficient, but durable. Number 4, remember to have fun. If the joy is gone, something's off. Step back and reassess before it's too late. Either come back stronger with a new perspective, or recognize it might not be for you. Many eventually do, and that's more than okay. And my final point, go indie and make small games. If you're really passionate about making games, you believe in your ideas, and you're ready to give it your all, go indie. Don't go burn your passion and energy for someone else's dreams. Go for your own. Opening a company and publishing a game has never been easier. Anyone can do it. So can you. Of course, the indie path is tough, but can be super rewarding, especially if you focus on a tight scope and sustainable goals. At least, that's what I finally decided to go for. Before the release of the game, I had finished my thesis and finally graduated.
Yay!
So I went ahead and made the first step with my partner Hikari.
Hello.
And we just founded Kifinami Studio! Yeah, it's us! We're finally making our own games, ones that you'll hopefully all enjoy.
But for our first game, we have to do some research. We're now a company, so let's do things seriously.
That's why...
We bought tickets to Japan!
Oh my god, really?
Yeah.
So why Japan? Well, our game will be based on a unique part of Japanese culture that's rarely explored in games.
We're heading straight to the source to do some proper field research.
And get some well-needed rest after these 4 years of game dev studies.
Whew.
Boy, I'm tired.
I'm too old.
Oh, but before we go, please like and subscribe. It helps us a ton, and we're super excited to share more about our little indie adventure with you.
Japan, here we come!
See you guys there.